All right, you guys, welcome to our Body Electric Weekly webinar. We are well into August, and so we're officially, I even had time to sit down and create a little PowerPoint for you guys tonight, so we have some official training information for you guys to take away, take some notes on, and hopefully help implement into your business. So this is our first real, webinar since the summer break. We are now having these every single Wednesday night, as usual, at 9 p.m. Eastern. I usually try to keep it to like 30 to 40 minutes, and then sometimes we'll take questions at the end. So usually I'd like to be mindful of your time, but I ask that you do tune into these, whether it's live or recorded, just to make the most out of it and to hopefully apply some stuff to your business. So a few things that I always do first, I always dive into the announcements. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If you have not already muted yourself, if you could do that just so that we can hear without an echo, that would be great. The bottom left corner of your screen. Okay, cool. So like I told you guys on the Facebook team page today, we were talking tonight about attracting your tribe. In other words, recruiting coaches to your team, to our team. So that's what we're going to dive into here in a minute. But first and foremost, like I said, our team calls are now back in action every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Most of these are going to happen just like this. We have them on Zoom. I like to see your faces. So I know that Facebook Live is awesome every once in a while, but I feel like I'm just kind of like staring at my office wall when I'm talking and just looking at thumbs up and hearts, which is cool, but I like to see your faces more often than not. So sometimes I will just do a Facebook Live if I just have a few updates for you. But on the weeks that I like to provide trainings, which is most weeks, this is the format for how we do those. So I hope you'll tune in each week. Next week, I will tell you that my husband and I are moving. So we're moving into our new house, and next week is the big week for that. So I'm not sure exactly what next Wednesday is going to look like right now, but hopefully we'll be able to break away and do, whether it's a live stream or something, next week. So, okay. So first things first, we have a new round of Shift Shop beginning next week. So as you guys know, those of you who are in our current Body Electric Challenge group for Shift Shop, the program is literally, they're advertising it like 3 weeks, but you see what I mean now? Like it's really 6 weeks, right? Like if you're like me and you have to do everything to a T, you're going to do the full 6 weeks. So what I'm hoping to do is just continue that group. I personally have some challengers that are going to be coming into that same group, and they're going to be starting. So I have a feeling we're going to have people coming in brand new who are going to be starting a new round. And then we have the people who are in there who are going to be continuing into weeks 4 through 6. So advertise, invite, follow up, make sure you're checking in with your Shift Shoppers now to see if they're game for another round. So we've got Team Cup happening right now. We have a 10 for 10 promotion happening. If you don't know what this is and you are shooting for Elite or Premier this year, check it out in the FAQ. Basically, Beachbody is they're awarding 10 Elite points to coaches who sell 10 challenge packs in the month of August. So it's they're considered wild card points. So if this makes sense to you and I'm talking your language and you're someone who's shooting for Elite or Premier this year, it's a pretty big deal. I know there are several coaches on our team looking to achieve Premier at least and attend New Leader Conference. And if that's you, this is a huge deal because it's going to give you 10 extra points if you can sell 10 challenge packs in the month of August. So check that out in the FAQ. Super Saturday is September 23rd. And if I can be there on my daughter's first birthday, you can be there, I'm sure. So I'm going to be there. I'm actually leading an event prior to Super Saturday. So I don't know what time Super Saturday starts. I think it starts at like 3. I think it's like at 3 o'clock. But we're doing a diamonds and above training before that. So April Keever, Angie Barnes, and myself are leading a training. And I think I can leak this out because no one's told me I can't. So we just, we have Joe Carden coming from corporate. He's going to be there for the diamond training. We also have Pat Petrini, who's the author of Miracle Morning for Network Marketers. He's going to be speaking to us for the diamond training. I will be leading a training, and April Keever will be leading a training as well. So there's going to be a little bit of leadership ladder discussed, and then I'm talking more specifically about how to talk to people and how to recruit coaches to your team, kind of like what we're talking about tonight. So, but way better and way different. So it's nothing like this, but you need to be there. So that's the Diamond training event. That's happening, I think, from 12 to 2. And then the Super Saturday event is from 3 to, 6. And Carl Deichler, our CEO, is going to be here in Indianapolis for that. We have a live workout. We have him speaking. It'll be an awesome good time. So if you've never been to Super Saturday, this is the one to attend. If you have been before, still obviously a great one to attend. The CEO is going to be here. So grab your ticket at tbbindiana.com. Okay, we have a Diamond retreat coming up in, I think, 46 days. Not that I'm counting. I'm kind of counting because I'm really excited, because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but right now, as far as I'm aware, we have 20 coaches on our team shooting to end the year as a Diamond or above coach, which is a really cool deal. So we're hosting a team retreat for Diamonds and above in Michigan for October 12th through the 15th. I know we have lots of coaches working for that, so that's going to be super awesome and fun. So, and then last but not least, Summit in Indy 2018. So the last time we had some sort of face-to-face about Summit, we talked about how it's going to be in Indianapolis. You have to be there. They had discounted tickets. Well, they still have discounted tickets. It's not quite the $140 mark or whatever it was, but it's maybe $20 more now for a ticket to Summit, but it's going to gradually increase as time passes. So if you're thinking about maybe going to Summit, stop thinking maybe and just commit, because it's going to be amazing. I would rather go to Beachbody Summit than go on any other vacation of the summer. I mean, it's literally that fun. The workouts are awesome. The trainings are awesome. The camaraderie and just hanging out with the team is awesome. So maybe even grab your spouse, grab your ticket for Summit and Indy if you haven't already. Now, I was going to add a slide in here, and I didn't have a chance to do it before tonight. But we have another team mastermind happening. It was in the weekly announcements, so hopefully you've seen it. The official, I don't know, logistics for that. We are starting on Monday, August 21st, and hang on one second. And we are covering the book Relentless by Tim Grover. I have the registration form from Amy. She sent it to me today. These mastermind groups are led by Amy Snow, who is our resident John Maxwell life coach. This is our first mastermind with her where we haven't done a John Maxwell book, but she's phenomenal as a facilitator and just a life coach in general. So she leads us as a group through these mastermind calls. This one's going to be 6 weeks, so we will end it literally right in time for October. And the deadline, she wants me to let everybody know tonight that the deadline is the 15th, so that's Tuesday, if you want her to order the book for you. Otherwise, you can delay that. You can submit it up to the day before, as long as you're purchasing your own book. So in other words, if you need her to order the book for you, or you would like for her to order the book for you, she needs to know by next Tuesday. Okay, so that's it for logistic announcements. Let's dive into talking about our topic for tonight, which is attracting your tribe. So I'm hoping that I can keep this simple enough, but I hope you also come away with some takeaways, maybe some aha moments on how you can go about recruiting coaches to your team so as to make a larger ripple effect. Because I know a lot of you guys, everybody on this team, I hope, is on this team and you became a coach because you want to pay it forward, you want to make a difference, and you want to do it with people that you love to do it with, right? You want to do it around people who are positive, high energy, like-minded people. So that's sort of our focus for tonight, is to tell you how to go about doing this, why to do this, and how really at the end of the day, it's about these relationships. The relationships are why we do what we do, and helping people is why we do what we do. So first things first, I want to just clarify with everyone here, because there's a lot of faces I see some new faces, and I also know that we'll have coaches listen to the recording. So here's what's cool. I don't remember where I posted this. I don't know if it was in the team page or not, but I had this thought recently about all these people that I have met on this team who I never would have met if I never would have decided to pay this opportunity forward. So when I started as a coach 7 years ago, I was like, yeah, maybe. And at that time, my vision for me working the business was like, oh, if I could get my mom to drink Shakeology, I'll be happy. Like if I could get my family on board with getting healthy, I'll be happy. If I could pay for my own costs on Shakeology, I would be happy, right? And that's how it started. And that's how it starts for most coaches. Maybe that's how it's starting for you. But what I started to notice over time was that I was able to impact more lives and have a bigger impact in general if I had coaches on my team who were also touting the same message, who were also walking the walk, being proof the products worked, and who were inviting people to do this stuff alongside of us. So what I love about that picture that I've already skipped over is that, some of these faces are people that I have known and that came on board the business because of me, but some of these faces are coaches that came on board the business because of someone else in this picture. So that's the cool thing about the ripple effect, right? This is just a few of our coaches that went to Summit a few weeks ago in New Orleans. We have over 600 coaches on our team, so this is just a small number in representation of our team, but there are so many on this team that it's like I meet them for the first time and I'm like, yep, you're part of our tribe. And it totally makes sense to me because they were obviously brought on board by somebody that, is kind of in this whole ripple effect that has the same motivations, the same overall message, the same vibe about them. So I definitely feel like our team has a distinct tribe and, your team will have a distinct tribe, but we're all interconnected. So that's the cool power of what this has to offer. So let's dive into why you need one. Right? I don't know if you guys have seen that graphic that's floating around social media that says something to the effect of, call it a clan, call it a network, call it a tribe, whatever it is, you need one, right? And every time I see it, I have to click like because it's so freaking true. Before I became a coach, I was working my corporate job. I was the person who was saying yes to Friday happy hours on occasion, with coworkers, even though I would rather blow my brains out than go to Ale Emporium for a beer with my coworkers, right? Like I've been with them from 9 to 5 every day of the week, but that was the only thing close to a tribe that I had, right? It was not necessarily the most healthy relationships, not necessarily people that I felt like I could slumber party with, right? They weren't necessarily my tribe. And so that was a cool thing about what Beachbody Coaching had to offer me was a sense of being around my people, right? Being around people who pack their own food instead of eating the restaurant food, or being around people who just have your back, who are positive, who are high energy all the time. And so in my opinion, everybody in this world needs a tribe, right? How many times do you hear about moms who have connected and maybe they're part of some sort of we have a bunco group in our neighborhood. I didn't even know what bunco was. It's like a game, like a gambling type game. And so there's this network of women in our neighborhood who are literally like a tribe of women who have come together over this game, but they're literally they have each other's backs, they support them, they help with each other's kids, they are a tribe. That's the same thing as what we're doing, except for the center of our tribe, at the center of it is health, fitness, and personal development. So you need one because this opportunity provides so much more than an income. Right? I was on a phone call today with my corporate rep, Joe, and he asked us to share things that we're working on social media and things that we're not working on social media. And so somehow the conversation sort of went on to a side tangent about posts that go well. And I told him, transformation posts always go over well because they grab attention. And I said, with coaching though, someone else on the call said something about income. How when she makes an income post, she gets people who reach out. And I'm like, I don't, but I'm glad because if I made an income post and someone was attracted to an income post, then I'm going to be trying to help that person figure out how to make money. And that's really not what I'm wanting to help that person figure out. I do want you guys to make money and make an income in this opportunity, but I want you to do it because as a result of helping people actually change their lives. Right. So it's so much more than that. So often I see coaches who are, when they're going about recruiting or publicizing, joining their team, they're doing it the wrong way. They're doing it in a way that is advertising money, or income instead of the other stuff that we get that is way more rewarding than that could be, right? The friendship, the support, the accountability, being a part of something and being part of a vision that's bigger than ourselves, the personal growth, everything about it is just, people need what we have. People need to be a part of what we have. So, okay, so in short, we know that at the end of the day, we earn an income based on two things, right? We earn the income based on customers that we help with the tools that we have and the coaches that we lead to help those people with the tools that we have, right? So it's both. We have to build a team in conjunction with bringing on customers, right? And so we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit deeper. And I go even deeper than this in the Diamond training on September 23rd. So, okay, so how to go about finding your tribe. So we know why we need one, right? We know that, okay, so we're in this business because we want to make a difference, and we want to do it around people that we like, and we want to do it around people that we enjoy being around, and we want to make a difference. As a result of that, we are going to earn an income by the lives that we're changing. So let's talk about how to find them, like how to find these people that you want to make up your tribe. So the first thing I'd like to say is something that Chalene Johnson taught me a long time ago, and it always sticks out in my head, which is to be unapologetically you ×2. So what do I mean by that? I think the ×2 part is the most important part. When it comes to your brand on social media in particular, it's very average to be the coach who is just really into Shakeology and really into Beachbody On Demand workouts. And, you know, every coach in the network, if there's 500,000 coaches, every coach in the network is most likely a fanatic of Shakeology and Beachbody programs. So if that becomes your brand and that's it, then it's just sort of average, right? So you have to find what really makes you you. So right now, off the top of my head, I'm thinking about how Katie Kelly is a coach on our team, and she's like lives and dies by her rock climbing. So if you follow her on social media, you know that she is in it with rock climbing. You know what I mean? Like she's going to pick that over anything, any day. So that's her. And she's just unapologetically herself about it. She wants to let everybody know she's into it. She's always posting about it. That's part of her brand. So that's one aspect of it. But the other aspect is something that has come up recently in conversation, which is that sometimes we aren't bold enough in our personality on social media. So what I mean by that is, you know, our invitation posts kind of sound like maybe they've come straight out of the script instead of being out of our mouth, like the words that we would use. So I'll give you this example. I had someone, and this might be a little bit, I hope it doesn't offend anybody, but this is a legit story that happened to me. It's happened to me a few times. So you guys know that I am very honest, right? Like my brand is the same way. I mean, it reflects who I am. And so I am someone who, like, I'm consider myself a Christian. You know, we've recently adopted our daughter. Like, I talk about adoption on my social media. But I'm also the type of person who I don't necessarily hide behind the F word. I'm not saying the F word every other word every single day, but I do occasionally use it, right? Like that's just my personality. Like I am a female who tends to cuss if I'm upset, or even if I'm trying to joke around and be funny. And so that's just part of my personality, right? If those of you who follow like Amy Silverman or any of, you know, some of our other top 10 coaches, like, you know, that that's part of their personalities or whatever. They have interesting things about them. And so that's me. Well, I've had a couple people actually in the last few months reach out to me with very thoughtful messages about how they think it's awesome that I am so pro-adoption and that I've been talking about my adoption story with Ellery. And they think it's awesome that I share like about my faith on my social media, but they just really wish that I wouldn't post, right? Like the occasional, I never actually share the full word, but if I ever allude to an F-bomb or allude to a cuss word, they're really offended by it. And they told me that they don't think that it jives, like that my brand is contradictory because I'm cursing, but I'm also a Christian. And I'm like, well, I can be both. Like that's me. That just is who I am, right? So I'm telling you this, why? Because yeah, it's a little bold. It's me being me ×2. But in every instance, I don't apologize to people, right? Like I'm not going to I didn't message these people back and say like, oh, I'm really sorry I offended you. I literally just wrote them back and said, thank you so much for the message. Because this reflects who I am, this is just, you know, I appreciate you sending this to me, but I'm just going to continue being who I am, right? And so what I'm trying to get across here is that person who might be offended by my occasional post might not be part of my tribe, and that's okay. We can still be Facebook friends. She doesn't necessarily have to drink Shakeology. She doesn't necessarily have to be a part of my team, but you know what I mean? Like that's not something that I'm going to worry about. So what I'm trying to tell you is to think about the hobbies that make you you, think about the personality quirks that make you you, and just stick to it and be okay with it, because it's the type of people that you're going to attract. So you're going to look for people like you on social media and in person. You're going to reach out to those people and you're going to let them know that you wish for more time with them. So I'm going to give you some exact things that you could be saying to these people. But I think at the end of the day, you guys know when you see somebody on social media and you're like, that girl, she posts all the time about her kid and she's so funny and I just love following her and I wish we could be friends. Like, I wish I could get to know her better because she just cracks me up, right? Those are the people you should be talking to. Those are the people that you should kind of get to know. As Chalene says, you always have a feeling on who belongs in your tribe because you just have a really good gut feeling about them. She has a great story about how she hired all of her initial personnel for Powder Blue Productions based on her gut feeling. Like, she had interviews with them, and if she felt like she could get along with them as a friend, she hired them. And I think we should have the same approach with our business. So the other thing that I like to do is I like to tell these people that they would make a great coach. Flattery goes a long way, right? So telling somebody, I really think you would make a fantastic coach on my team. Have you ever considered that? Or I would love to have you in my inner circle. What would I need to do to get you in my inner circle and part of my team? Would you want to hear more? So, I think if we treat this like welcoming people into your friend circle, which is what it is, then you're going to be a lot less overwhelmed, or, you won't be overthinking the invitation. So public invitations on your social media about the tribe that you're a part of with our team, what that's meant for you, what the personal growth has meant for you, what the, not just the workouts and the shakes, but what this community has done for you, I think is a really great way of attracting people as well. So last but not least, and I put this in bold here, I think it's important that we know that we have to recruit our challengers. Okay. So this came up as well in a conversation this week with one of you coaches. And the question was, I think we had someone on the team that told me that they had recruited, everybody that they have recruited so far has been a coach, and they have never recruited a customer. But yet this person is struggling a little bit with having people who want to work the business, right? And that makes total sense, because as we know from corporate, the people who make the best coaches were probably challengers first. They probably became fans of Shakeology. They became fans of the accountability groups and the community. And therefore they're like, I think I can do this too. So sometimes when we bring coaches onto our team, which totally happens, when they come in first as a coach, we kind of have to rewind and say, okay, let's experience what this means to be part of a challenge group, to be part of our team, and then we'll help you pay it forward. So recruiting your challengers is usually the best way to go when it comes to recruiting coaches for your team. So who we do this with is what matters most, right? I've already said that once. The relationships matter most. So the people that we're helping, the friends that we make in the process. So I really want you to think about who you want to have in your inner circle. What would that look like? What would it look like for you to go to Summit with a crew of 5 or 10 or 15 or 50 coaches? Who would those people be? What would they be like? What would their personality be like? Would you be fun and outgoing and staying out late every night? What would you be doing? Like, really think about what makes you you and who you'd want to be around and be with. So oftentimes you guys have heard your vibe attracts your tribe. That is absolutely true. But sometimes your tribe is attracted to you. So sometimes it works the opposite way around. So if you don't like who you're working with, I encourage you to just simply get better. The coaches that I recruited in I'm 7 years into this business. Aside from my mom and my husband, none of the coaches that I recruited in the first 3 years of my business are even coaches anymore. Okay, so and if you were to ask a lot of successful coaches in the business, they're going to give you that same answer. So why, right? Because I've gotten better, because I have dug more into my personal development, more into my leadership, and I really feel like now I just attract a different type of person to my business. So continue doing that personal development, continue to get better. The people that you attract will also be changing in the process. Which challengers do you currently have that could potentially step up to the next level of paying it forward? Do you have people right now in the challenge group for Shift Shop or in a different challenge group who you feel like, this person checks in every day with their shake, their workout, or, you know, they really have some awesome, they're funny, they have some awesome things to say, they really add value, or I could see this person kind of on our team. Like, those people, are you having conversations with them? Are you telling them that they would make a great coach? And the number one question that I want to ask here is, are you labeling them with objections, or are they? And what I mean by that is, if I say to you, hey, I see that Jane Doe is checking in all the time in the challenge group. Have you talked to her about becoming a coach? If you would respond to that question to me and say, oh, she's just so busy. She's got 3 kids in school, and I mean, you should just hear what's going on. She volunteers at church. If you start putting those like excuses of her being busy and you haven't even talked to the person, you are the one that's making those exceptions and those objections. That person is not even given the chance to do that or to say yes or no. So I ask you, you know, if that's been going on in your head, if you've got these challengers that you think are too busy or they're too successful with their day job or whatever, those are most likely going to still make great coaches on your team, but you have to ask. Don't put the objections in their mouth. Okay, so let's talk specifically about the types of things that I say, because I know a lot of times you guys are like, what do I say? So these are the types of things that I say to potential coaches, and you guys can either screenshot this or this is recorded, whatever you want to do. So number one, I say, I would love to have you on my team, right? Like, not too complicated. And usually I would say that I probably say these types of things to like 70% or more of just my customers. So I know that I'm bringing them in as a customer, but I'm going to start planting the seed early that I would love for them to consider being a part of my team. That way they know that the offer always stands and the invitation is always there. So I would love to have you on my team. Have you ever considered, right? No one's going to answer a question that starts with, have you ever considered? They're not going to answer that with, heck no, leave me alone, you crazy woman, right? Like, have you ever considered is a normal way to start a question. Normal, considerate thought. Quote, what would it take to get you into my inner circle, into my fitness and health community of like-minded people? That's a couple sentences that I just used yesterday. What if you took your talents and ran your own business from home? I'd love to tell you more about what I do as a coach. I think it would be a perfect fit for you. I use that one a lot for if I know someone is like a yoga instructor or personal trainer or like a foodie, you know what I mean? Like a nutrition foodie or something, like people that you see on your social or whatever who are already inclined toward health and fitness. Those are the people that I try to reach out to as soon as I know they have that interest, because it would just make sense for them to be a coach. Okay, so I still think you would make a fantastic coach. So I say this. So the reason I put this in here is because, like I said, I plant the seed early with a lot of challengers that they would make a great coach on my team. And so I also use the sentence over and over and over again. So a couple months down the road, if they're still not open to, upgrading to coach, I'm still telling them that I think they would make a great coach. I want them to hear that encouragement from me. I don't want it to just be this one-time question and then I just never approach it again. If that was the case, Abby Ram would not be a coach on our team. If that was the case, Shauna Potts would not be a coach on our team. So we have a lot of successful coaches on this team that I don't know if they ever would have become coaches if I didn't keep telling them over and over that I thought that they would make a fantastic coach. So never give up on anyone. Okay, what if you could train folks virtually by way of world-class trainers, already created meal plans, and online accountability groups? So I talked to this girl a few weeks ago who was a blogger, and I think she might have had like her nutrition license or something. And she was writing meal plans for people, and people were paying her, like PayPaling her, and she was writing a meal plan. I was like, girl, like, you are wasting so much time. Like, I have access to like hundreds of meal plans already at my fingertips and workouts already at my fingertips. All I have to do is cultivate the relationships with people and help them succeed. Like, so she's spending all of her time creating the content that we already have access to, right? So that's like a no-brainer. Those people should be coaches, because if they're willing to put their time and energy into that, they should be willing to not put their time and energy there and to actually make a difference as well. So, and then last but not least, would you be up for a Zoom call so that we could hang out face to face? This is something I used a few weeks ago with a girl who I've been talking to for a while. Her husband's in the military. They are in Japan on a military base, and she's wanting to become a coach. And so we've never met in person. We met in a Facebook group for like a Couch to 5K type thing. And we friended each other outside of the group, and we've connected and messaged each other about random things off and on for about a year. And I finally just said, you know what, like I used this other sentence that said, what would it take to get you into my inner circle? That's how I broached the subject. And then she wrote back and said, well, I would love to hear more about what you do, and I'm glad you mentioned it. And then I followed up with, would you be up for a Zoom call so that we could hang out face to face? I'd love to just see you. Like, I feel like we're friends, you know what I mean? Like, even though it's through social media, I feel like we're friends, and I would love to hang out with you face to face. So these are all some really, these are literally things that I copy and pasted that I use and that I say to people. I keep it really simple. I want them to know that I'm their friend, and that's sort of the vibe that I hang with through those conversations. So this is perhaps the most important thing about what I'm going to say tonight, and then we'll wrap it up, which is that the objections that you receive, because we all know, right, in this business and in any business, you're going to receive objections. So when you receive them, that's going to be your biggest indicator of where you're lacking in educating folks on what we do. So hopefully this makes sense when I give you the examples. So it used to be that I would reach out to people and ask them if they were interested in hearing more about coaching, or I would ask them about joining my challenge group. And the objections that I would get back helped me to get better. So the first, I guess, big pointer here is that that's going to be required for you to succeed in this business. The willingness to reach out, to invite, to be told no, to do it over and over again, and to just continue failing over and over again, because you're going to get better through those conversations. So when you hear an objection back from someone, the first thing you've got to do is think, okay, so what about that objection tells me what I missed in the conversation process with that person, okay? So if the person says to you, if you've said, hey, I'd really like to tell you more about coaching, and they respond and say, oh, no way, there's no way I could do what you do, right? I used to get this one all the time, and I slowly over time figured out that they think they can't do what I do because they think I work all the time. So what does that tell me about my brand, right? Like, I need to show them that I'm not all business all the time. I need to show them that I have freedom in my schedule and that I create that freedom. You see what I'm getting at here? So you can kind of see like, oh, if that's what they think about coaching, then I need to kind of change what I'm making this perception to be, if that makes sense. So it's too hard to go back to somebody and say, it's not too hard. It's difficult to go back to someone and say, oh, no, like I don't work all the time, and like try to like retrace your steps. If they've been following you on social media for 3 months and they don't feel that about you, you know what I mean? So it's your vibe attracts your tribe. Okay. When people say, I don't think I'm going to have the time, most likely that's because they don't really know how much time it's going to take, right? So it's reason enough to ask more questions and to say back to them, well, how much time do you think it takes to be a coach? Usually they'll say, oh, I don't know, like, don't you work like 7 or 8 hours a day? And I'm like, no, as a full-time coach, I work 2 hours a day. So a lot of times people just have misconceptions about what it is. One thing that I hear sometimes is, I'm not fit enough, or I'm not, I'm still on my journey. I don't think I can become a coach because I'm still on my journey. So a lot of times that means they don't feel confident enough in their own skin to be able to lead other people. So what I usually like to say back to that is, you're going to be able to connect with so many more people than I can, right? Like, I'm already kind of like on the flip side, not that there's an end point, but I've already lost the 30 pounds, like 5-6 years ago, lost the 30 pounds. So I no longer connect with people who have 30 pounds to lose, right? Like, I can share my transformation story, but a lot of people see my social media and they see me doing a side pro and they don't resonate with that. So I tell this, if I was talking to a potential coach who said, well, I'm not as fit as you, I could never lead other people until I figure out my own self. My response back to that would be, yeah, well, you're going to be able to resonate with so many people who are ready to start or who are on their journey, right? Like, and they need to know that. Like, you have to be bold enough to respond that way and not just say, oh, okay, and retreat. And last but not least, start educating publicly. So through your branding, through your social posts, to combat those objections in advance, right? You guys have heard me say that I very rarely get a price objection on Shakeology. I think that's because I'm talking about the value of Shakeology in my social media, and people just know if they follow me that it's going to be part of the plan. They know that if they're going to reach out to me, Shakeology is going to be involved, right? So if you can make that part of your brand so that it's just a no-brainer, if you can start educating people that your worth, like if you show them that you're living this lifestyle and that you can help them live the same lifestyle, there's not going to be very many objections. It's just up to you to prove that you can be that type of leader and coach to them. So my final thoughts as we wrap it up are, number one, your vibe attracts your tribe. Number two, you have to ultimately start by asking yourself who you want on your team. So what does that really look like? Like, a lot of you are like, oh yeah, I should do that. And then we hang up tonight's call and you still don't do it. So what I want you to think about doing as sort of a takeaway is to create an avatar. You guys know what an avatar is? It's like your ideal customer or your ideal coach. So Chalene Johnson had us do this for Marketing Impact Academy. We had to create an avatar. We had to name him or her. We had to identify their demographic, right? So mine was like 34-year-old female, stay-at-home mom, whatever. Like, we had to know exactly what this person does, how they start their day, how they end their day, what attracts them to their health and wellness journey. Like, we had to know everything about this person. What do they eat for dinner? Are they married? Are they not married? So create this sort of like fake person and speak to that person every single time you post. Every single time you post on your social media, you should be talking to that person. So I have a friend of mine who did this, and she went so far as to create like a cartoon or whatever, like, of this person. And she put the person, I forget, this is like Tiffany, I think she named her Tiffany. She put Tiffany like right next to her computer. And so in her office was this picture of Tiffany, her avatar. And so every time she would make a public invite, every time she would make a post for, recruiting to her team, she was talking directly to Tiffany, right? So hopefully this makes sense to you. Hopefully that helps you hone in on your voice when it comes to your brand. So when you receive an objection, move on, but make sure that you follow up. Those objections are the best way to know where you're missing the buck on your brand. Last but not least, you're a leader and people follow you. We've had this discussion before, right? Like, you decided to be a coach and actively coach in this business, therefore you are a leader. Even if you have no coaches on your team yet, people are still following you. So the ripple effect that this can offer you is huge. Like I told you before, I started off with my mom on my right leg and my husband on my left leg. And our team is 600 coaches strong. I have my closest friendships are coaches on this team. Like I told you before, I would rather go to Summit than go on any other vacation. And it's because of the people. Like, it really is not about working out with Sagi Kalev, going to Summit. Going to Summit for me is hanging out with all of you, being around this team, and just the difference that we're making as a whole. There's no one on this call who can tell me that when they don't log into that My Challenge tracker every single day and see 84 people logging their shake and their workout, posting their struggles, posting their successes, like, we're doing that. We are helping those people as a team. There's no better feeling. And it's all because you decided to pay it forward. And because your coach decided to pay it forward. And their coach decided to pay it forward. And so if you're going to go places in this business, if you're going to seek out success in this business, the ripple effect is what you're going for, because you can help a handful of people each month yourself. But if those handful of people also help people, then your reach is just going to spread and spread and spread. It's a pretty amazing thing. So I want to make sure that I give you some recommendations for PD for this topic, because whether you're new to coaching or you're one of those coaches shooting for diamond this year, this is a huge, huge topic, what we just talked about, right? Like attracting people to your tribe could be the most important topic for a Beachbody coach to hear about. So if this is something that you feel like you need expansion on in your personal development, these are my top 3. I had to narrow it down because you guys know I could give you like a top 20. The book Tribes by Seth Godin. It's a real little book. It's a pretty relatively short read. Very good. Very good. And it has sort of a marketing feel to it. People Follow You by Jeb Blount is also good. It's one of my favorites. And then it just so happens that right before I prepared this tonight, I was going through my PowerPoints to try to find an image, and I found a webinar presentation that I did like a year or so ago. And it was one where I featured, it's called Closing the Sale, and it's on our Body Electric webinar recordings on the website. And it doesn't sound like it's about recruiting coaches, but it kind of is. So if you want to hear more and you don't necessarily want to read a book about it, I would check that out first. It was a sort of a recap overview that I did on our team webinar of hearing Nicole Walters speak on the topic, and she did a great job. So it's more about that whole learning from your objections thing, which is kind of cool. So those are my recommendations for PD. So at the end of the day, I love this team and I love where we're headed. As you guys know, we have some great things that we are seeking out for this year. I'm super excited to help so many of you guys succeed and to form your own tribes. We're just like a bunch of little like mini tribes within a big tribe, which is cool. And I think that's a really cool segue into Q&A, because I think if you guys want to talk specifically about what you're focused on for your team, or how I can help you in the next few minutes here with the Q&A, I'm happy to help you do that, because I think that everybody here, you're part of our tribe as a team, and I know you love it, right? You wear the shirts, obviously, you can see in the picture, you wear the shirts, you represent the brand, but you guys also need to have this feeling, because it is an awesome feeling to know that because you decided to pay something forward and lead, that people are choosing to follow you, and you guys need to have that feeling too. So any questions that I can answer, I'm going to stop the screen share so I can see your faces, because I haven't been able to see you. Hang on. Wouldn't that be awful if you guys weren't there, or if I'd just been talking for like 30 minutes? Okay, so any questions that I can answer? I can now see you, I think. Losing my voice. I have my book for the mastermind. I just got it today. I'm excited. I'm excited to have PD structure again. I feel like I can just be like, 3 pages is enough tonight. And then it's just so inconsistent. So this is good.
Hey, Jenny, how do you sign up for that?
For the mastermind, I have a registration form that I just got from Amy, like right before our call. So I will upload it to the team Facebook page as soon as we get off this. So you'll fill out the registration form, and the directions are on there of how to send it to Amy.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, excited to have you on there. It's going to be, we're going to do them on Monday nights from 8:30 to 9:45. I think I said that in the beginning, but I might not have. Anybody here recently moved and have any packing tips for me? Right now, we're taking the approach of throw everything in a box.
Hire a mover.
Yeah. We have movers for like our furniture, but we have to move the little stuff.
We were lucky. Peter's company paid for all of it, so we didn't have to pack either.
But do they
Keep throwing things away.
Wait, what?
Just keep throwing things away.
Yeah.
We got rid of like half the stuff in our house. Literally half the stuff.
Yeah.
When you
I
take
moved every
boxes,
year for about 8 years. It's just purged.
when you take your boxes in, Jenny, don't put them all like in the garage or something. Take them to the rooms where they need to go. We
Yeah.
did not do that because my parents had like 3 carloads and they just unloaded everything into our garage. And I was doing ninja work over boxes for like 3 weeks trying to find like underwear and stuff.
Yeah.
Not really underwear, but it felt like it sometimes.
Nice. No, we have it's so tricky because we have we close on Monday, and then we've got like painters coming in on Tuesday, and we have furniture being delivered and appliances being installed, and like next week's sort of like that prep week, and then we move on Saturday. So yeah, we're gonna see how this goes, but the movers are moving everything except for our clothes, our kitchen, and my office. So I'm hoping that we can do that relatively easily, but we've already purged so much stuff. We had a whole cabinet of board games that neither one of us knew we had. Like, we're pretty sure that like my mom put them there, or I don't even know. And then that's the other thing too, is my parents are moving, and our parents both collectively keep bringing us like all this stuff. My mom brought me like 3 Rubbermaids of like Barbies, dolls. Chris's parents brought like his NASCARs from like when he was a kid. Like, I don't even know what to do with this stuff. I have a Rubbermaid full of like all these Christmas outfits from when I was a kid. Like, what do I do with it? I don't know. So we have probably half our basement is stuff that we probably won't even do anything with. But anyways, okay. So really, nobody has any questions on the topic or conversation starters. Okay. Alrighty. Well, oh, go ahead.
I'll just ask you. Well, I can just ask you privately too, because it wasn't on the topic.
Okay. Whatever.
Do you know how long it takes a new coach to show up as active if they just placed an order like 20 minutes ago?
You mean?
A new coach enrollment with a challenge back order.
Will
it
be active for you tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yes. It should.
Yeah.
You could.
Should I call?
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't call. You could chat.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'll do.
Yeah, because Wednesday night there's probably a long wait. Usually, yes. If the challenge pack went through and you know that it went through, usually that ensures activation tomorrow. Yay. Oh, you're talking, but I don't hear you. I don't know if you're talking to me.
Oh, yeah. I see the order and the sign up. So.
Yep. Cool. Cool. All right, y'all. Well, I'm off to shower. So you guys, I think everybody here is a mom. If I know everybody on this call, or most everybody. Yes, we've had Ellery on like the perfect schedule for like 7 days. She's merged her naps into one. It's been glorious. I actually, I had all these people tell me like, oh, just wait, you're going to lose that afternoon nap, or you're going to lose that nap. No, I want this merge, you guys. Like, this is like a 2.5 hour merge. This is a game changer. Game changer. Yesterday, I worked out and showered. Like, it wasn't like I was choosing, do I eat or do I shower? Do I work out or do I eat? Like, I could do it all in like 2.5 hours. And so we've had 7 straight days where she goes to bed at 7 o'clock at night. She wakes up at 7 o'clock in the morning. She doesn't wake up at all during the night. And then she takes a nap from 10 to 12:30, right? So I set up my Acuity so that I could do calls with you guys, like thinking this is the new schedule, right? Which is probably what jinxed me. And then my mom comes to visit, and I love my mom dearly. And I say to her yesterday, we left to go do stuff for the house. And I was like, Ellery gets her bottle at 5:30. Give her bottle at 5:30, then we'll be home and we'll put her to bed. So I called my mom at 5:15 just to remind her, right, about the bottle. And I was like, hey, what are you guys doing? And she's laughing. She's like, oh, we're just sitting outside. And I go, okay, well, I was like, I just want to call and tell you that Ellery gets her bottle, remember, at 5:30. We're on our way home. And she goes, oh, I gave it to her at 4:30. And I was like, oh. And she goes, which you guys know, right? Like, that's like her last bottle of the day. So if she had it at 4:30, probably not going to go all night, right? So I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, I gave it to her at 4:30. And then she fell asleep. So she took a nap yesterday from 5 to 5:30. I was like, no. So, I had of all times, I had a call with Beachbody Corporate today. I had 2 calls with them, and I had another call this morning. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So I told my mom, I was like, Mom, no. Like, no kid should nap after 5. Like, bad idea. So she just didn't even she's like, I didn't know. And I'm like, I told you. So I was talking to this friend of mine today, and she goes, doesn't your mom know that if it's after 5 and they're tired, you roll the windows down and you turn the music up and you just push them through to bedtime? I'm like, yeah, well, she didn't get the memo. So today was just one of those days. She was up at 5 a.m. this morning, as expected, because she had a bottle at 4:30. And her naps were off all day. Like I told Chris, I said, when I say that I was literally wrestling her to take a nap, I mean, it was, but you guys know, right? Like, my wrestling her for a nap was harder than shift shop strength 35 that I did today. It was harder. Like, at one point, I literally had the thought, I'm like, I wonder if I could, I wonder if she would, maybe this would put her to sleep. Like, I could just do that motion and it would, you know what I mean? Like sumo squatter and put her to sleep. No. So but the funny thing is, I shouldn't be telling you this because this is all recorded. But as I'm doing this afternoon, I'm trying to rock her. I'm trying to get her to sleep. They come to visit. Of course, they get here right as I'm trying to put her down for a nap. So I look outside and they're just taking a nap out on on the front porch. Like, they're both asleep in the sun. And I'm just furiously rocking her, trying to get her to sleep. And I'm thinking about how we've been up since 5 a.m. and I'm exhausted and my mom did this to me. And so I just look out and they're just sitting out there like, oh, that's such a nice day. So anyways, long story short, don't trust your parents to babysit. At least, someday that'll be like an Egg McMuffin. It won't be a 5 o'clock nap, and then we'll really have problems.
Whenever my mom babysits, I ask her what she fed her.
Yeah.
And then I ask her if she's lying to me. And she usually tells me she is. Because my mother's the hugest sweet tooth, and I don't feed her that stuff, and
Right.
I can't trust anything. But she will always tell you if she's lying to you, but she'll lie first.
Well, I had to tell my mom yesterday. I go, Mom, well, here, oh yeah, I didn't even tell you guys this part. So when I was talking to her at 5:15, she goes, oh, she fell asleep. And I go, when did she fall asleep? She said, at 5. And I was like, oh. And I go, she said, well, should I wake her? And I go, no, don't wake her. Bad idea. And so then we pull in the driveway 10 minutes later, and the stroller is sitting out in the front empty. So I'm thinking, she freaking walked her in the stroller. No wonder she went to sleep. So I go inside and my mom goes, she's awake, but you can tell she's grouchy. And I go, Mom, did you wake her? And she goes, no. And I go, you woke her up. I go, I just talked to you. No, I didn't. And my dad looked at me and went, I go, Dad is sitting here shaking his head, Mom, like you woke her up. And she goes, well, I had already woke her up when you told me not to. I was like, so yeah, I'm going to have to start saying, did you wake her? Are you lying, Mom? I'm going to have to do that too. Oh, well. So, all right, you guys, thanks for spending your Wednesday evening with me. If you have any questions about this topic or anything else, just let me know. The recording is always posted on Thursdays, so if you don't have coaches who were able, or if you have coaches who were unable to attend, make sure you tag them in the recording. And I will see you guys next week. Might have to talk to you while I'm unpacking boxes. Have a good night, you guys.